Let's go. We're on to grounding and bonding. Here we go. Refer to figure 205.8 shown above. We're not subject to physical abuse. The smallest permitted GEC. Okay, GEC is a grounding electrode conductor to the ground rod. From panel LC is blank gauge. Panel LC has a 400 amp main breaker and is supplied power by the transformer with a set of 600 kc mil conductors. Now, typically, when we're dealing with the grounding electrode conductors, we do need to pay attention to the size of our ungrounded conductors. Okay, we would normally go right to table 250.66. So let's cruise over and check that out. Okay, 250.66 is our grounding electrode conductor for alternating current systems. Now, we do have this great table, but what this table is really going to apply to is your cold water bond, okay, or your building steel. Those are the primary ones we will be using this table for. Okay. These other electrodes that we're going to be using and that you're using out in the field on a regular basis have their own little sets of rules associated with them. Conveniently enough, they're located in the same section right underneath. And what we're talking about for this one is connection to a rod, pipe, or plate electrode. Okay, if the grounding electrode conductor or bonding jumper connected to a single or multiple rod, pipe, or plate electrode, or any combination thereof, does not does not require a larger size conductor. The grounding electrode conductor shall not be required to be larger than 6. Okay, so what it says in the middle, if it does not extend on to other types of electrodes that require a larger size conductor. So we have to watch out if we're putting these kind of like in series, right? But for the most part, the rule is for a ground rod, it is not required to be larger than a 6. Now, it could be an 8 if our ungrounded conductors are 2 or smaller. That is possible. Okay, but remember, with rod, pipe, and plate electrodes, typically it's a number 6. And it's a pretty safe bet to have a number 6 on there unless it's a really small service. Okay, a couple others that you might want to keep an eye on because they have differing rules is your UFER, right? Your concrete encased electrode. In the field, we're typically calling that a UFER. Okay, that's that little piece of rebar that's turned up out of the foundation. Connections to concrete encased electrode. If the grounding electrode conductor or bonding jumper connected to a single or multiple concrete encased electrode, as long as it doesn't extend onto other electrodes, it's not required to be larger than a number 4. Cool. Okay. What about ground rings? Ground rings have their own rule. It does not, the grounding electrode conductor shall not be required to be larger than the conductor used for the ground ring. Okay, but what size does the ground ring need to be? Well, that's going to kind of depend on the circumstance or situation, but you can find that up in 250.52, I do believe it is, under 250.52.4 for ground ring. Says a ground ring encircling the building or structure in direct contact with the earth consisting of at least 20 foot of bare copper conductor, not smaller than 2. Now, if the engineer specified a larger conductor, you're going to have a larger grounding electrode conductor extending out to the ground ring itself. But per code, as a minimum, it will be a number 2. So remember, you have those special circumstances when we're talking about the grounding electrode conductor. The table really will only be used for building steel and cold water. So the other ones are not so much a trick question, but in a way, it's kind of a trick question. They said ground rod. We're going to put a number 6 to it. Cool. That's it. Love it. Okay. Let's keep going.